Tom Brady still in the spotlight on the first day of Black History Month. About that guy.
Second straight year he's done it.
Second straight year. Fuck that guy.
That's a little too strong.
Little too strong.
I think J.J. Watt.
That's the Dolphin fan to me.
No, seriously.
Stugotz, don't you think this is pretty solid promotion for 80 for Brady?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
80 for Brady.
A tweeter writes in, this Tom Brady announcing his retirement exactly 1 year after his first announcement and just days before he has a movie releasing in theaters all time. Look at me, Louie.
Look at me, Louie.
When a speech ends with love you all, which can never be true, it's just because you don't know how to end the speech, right? Tom Brady ended that video that we think is blocks from here. It was recorded blocks from here, Stugotz. He was probably out there as you were coming in this morning smoking a heater.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended his retirement speech with love you all. That's always insincere, correct?
Yeah. Yep. It's a throwaway. I don't really know how to end this thing. Here's the generic kind of cliche way to end it. Love you all. No, you don't. I mean, come on. I love everybody.
You really don't need to take this one to the debate desk.
I do want to take it to the debate desk because Stugotz, you have to understand.
It's a throwaway line.
Stugotz is a little bit crazy now. I don't know if because Brady is retiring, he all of a sudden thinks that there is winning available to others because he was muttering under his breath during the break, and I don't know what triggered this. He's like, this reduces my chances of Rodgers to the Jets, to the New York Jets.
Yeah. Well, it does. I mean, yesterday I announced that Tom Brady is going to the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to stay entrenched there for a minute because he could come back any minute. So I'll stay entrenched right there. But now that the Niners job is open, it's the easier path, the NFC. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's headed out of Green Bay. And I don't know if they have, what Green Bay wants in terms of draft picks and all that. But now Aaron Rodgers has options, and he has better options than the Jets.
Stugotz, you're missing the central theme to Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to go to the Niners because then what would his excuse be if they lose? He's got to go somewhere where it's like, oh, but what is he supposed to do? He's playing for the Jets or the Raiders.
It's why I thought he would go to the Jets in the first place. Like, you could take that organization to a Super Bowl. That would be a great way. The bar is set so low, we can only exceed it. In San Francisco, he goes there. You're right, I mean, he has to win a Super Bowl.
You guys are saying
but
that.
So does Kyle Shanahan. And he might not want him. That's where we're back. I mean,
well, you're not back. I mean, you are back because Schefter said that they're not trading him to an NFC team.
Oh, God. Thank you, Adam.
Did you forget about that? Like, why is it? That seems kind of silly, does it not? To not trade Aaron Rodgers to an NFC team, even if the best offer is coming from an NFC team?
They did it initially with Brett Favre all those years ago. They refused to trade him to an NFC team.
He had to work his way back to Minnesota, right?
The difference is, though, Brett Favre had a backup that was everyone knew, like, oh, this guy's going to be good, right? Why? Like,
no, I don't think you're remembering that right. There was question marks about Aaron Rodgers.
I'm just saying, like, what's the relevance of an NFC team? Like, they're going to be terrible when they trade them. They're not going to be good.
Don't you find that weird?
It's very weird.
I remember when that retirement was approaching the first time. They drafted Brian Braum, I think, in the second round. They weren't completely sold. They had to see it.
I mean, they did go to the NFC Championship game that last year with Favre. And
no, he's talking about what Aaron Rodgers was on the bench. They were sat for several years on the bench as a first-round pick.
Yeah,
it seemed like they had a guy in waiting, yes.
Right. No, Love and Rodgers are kind of like the same deal. You have the same kind of question marks about Love.
But there are other guys available. Like, I can see Derek Carr maybe going to the Packers or something like that,
Do you think the Packers are a quarterback away from being good? That's my question. Like, think about that.
Well, but they had a two-time MVP.
Okay.
And it was a year ago, and I don't know how much his deterioration. I mean, it might be age, but it might be also a hurt thumb on his throwing hand.
My point is, if you're the Packers and the best package comes from in the conference, you cannot behave as if trading him in conference is going to jeopardize your chances for anything.
Why teams do that all the time, though? Like when the Nets were shopping Kevin Durant, the Knicks had everything they wanted, and the Nets were like, no, we're not trading him to the Knicks.
I don't think Durant wanted to go to the Knicks either. That might have been Durant saying no.
Amin's point is basically wherever they trade Rodgers isn't going to matter to the Packers because the Packers are not, whatever's left on Aaron Rodgers' career, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, that's not how close the Packers are at this moment. So it doesn't really matter if they trade him within the conference.
But they might be with like a Derek Carr. I don't know.
You think they're a Derek Carr away from?
Come on,
the NFL is weird. Brock Purdy just got to the NFC Championship game.
If they weren't good enough with the reigning 2-time MVP, they're not going to be good enough with Derek Carr.
But to Stugotz's point, it would be Derek Carr plus the pieces they get in exchange for Aaron Rodgers.
Right. He's got
I like
Watson.
being the mediator here.
Yeah.
Let's do it the way that Amin wants to do it, which is Aaron Rodgers sits down with his pro-con list. You're saying that he puts very high on his pro list. Find a team that can't blame me for losing.
They got to be good, but not too good, right? So the Jets, great defense. So he's like, okay, that's good. That gives me a chance. But if I'm unsuccessful with the Jets, like Stugotz said, no one's going to be like Aaron Rodgers or a bum. They're going to be like, oh, my God, he got them to the AFC Championship game or whatever.
In fact, I will tell you this. A lot of Jet fans will say the best feeling they've ever had as a Jet fan was the 8-3 start with Brett Favre. I mean, it was glorious.
The best feeling.
It was such a good time in my life. I mean, it went downhill after that, but it was such a great time in my life. But no expectations, and everyone loved Favre there in New York. They did, simply for going 8-3.
I mean,
not everyone. Yeah, not everyone.
That's like Brady saying, "I love you all."
There were
good point, Jess.
there were some issues with Brett Favre
Very
in New
efficient.
York.
Put it lightly. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I wanted to ask the group about something that happened over the weekend where Louis C.K. sold out a couple of Madison Square Garden shows, which is just crazy for a comedian to be able to do, period. I mean, I'm still not used to the idea of Kevin Hart selling out football stadiums. To be able to sell out Madison Square Garden twice as a comedian is a bit crazy.
MSG.
And
Mecca.
Mecca.
Mm-hmm.
And he also live streamed it on the internet, and I think had about 50,000 people watching, doing it himself. Now, Louis C.K. was trying to do some of this stuff before the scandal, and largely he has been canceled. For those of you who think he hasn't been because he can do it on his own somehow, because MSG offers him a stage and he does it on the internet. He's been, he hasn't been on the late night circuit. He hasn't done Saturday Night Live. He had done it like 5 times in 5 years. He's not doing talk shows. No production companies are using him.
Rogan.
Yeah, but I'm saying he lost. There was some things for those complaining, how could he sell out Madison Square Garden? There are things that have been lost here. Most he's radioactive. Most companies will not touch him, so he has to do it alone. I just can't believe that he can do it alone. I don't believe. I'm surprised that his staying power is so strong that he is, and I think he's great at stand-up comedy, that he is actually able to find a place where he can do it on his own, even though he's not getting the support of major entities.
Cancel culture refers to basically the mainstream avenues. He used to have a TV show, a very successful TV show. He was doing late night circuits. He was going on SNL. Mainstream entertainment industry has shunned him. He's not on TV. He's not doing movies, right?
If MSG Enterprises isn't mainstream as a venue, I hear you. He's not streaming on any platform right now yet. I could see it happening in the future, but performing at MSG, that's as Stugotz said, the Mecca. That is one of the most famous entertainment venues in the entire world.
But it's still, there's a level of separation as a venue operator that's not, that you get, rightly or wrongly, that you get that a network does not get. It doesn't get that same benefit of the doubt of, hey, well, I'm just carrying it. I'm just making money. Don't look at me. I don't really like him or whatever, right? The venue can do that, can get away with that. Then the other part, and the reason why he can sell out the venue, Dan, because again, people have proven this time and time again, absent cancel culture. It's, if you have an audience, we live in a day and age, if I have an audience, I can make it happen. And Mike mentioned, oh, he was on Rogan. Well, Rogan is an example of someone who's like, you know what? I don't care if I kind of offend or defy the conventionality of society. I know I have this many people who are motivated and will support what I do. And as long as I have their support and their money, I don't need the mainstream money.
How many comedians could actually sell out 2 nights of Madison Square Garden?
By the way, it's to me as a lover of stand-up comedy, I cannot understand why anyone would want to go watch stand-up with 20,000 people. The whole point is
small venue.
Yeah, the whole point is it's intimacy. The whole point is that it's a small room and they're working the guy in the back over there and the guy over here. 20,000 people. I mean, I have zero desire. Whoever it is, literally, like Chappelle's on tour. I love Chappelle. I'm not gonna go watch him in an arena. That's just ridiculous.
It's impossible in 2023 to get consensus of everyone to act in unison to prevent someone from making a living like Louis C.K., right? It's impossible to get, because his voice has been taken off of cartoons. He cannot get the kind of access that a comedian would generally need to get echoing laughter from sea to shining sea. He says he's lost $35 million, lost it in an hour is what it is that he says. But it's not possible to get every venue. Like Cosby is thinking about touring, and I don't know that will end up being something. I think there will be so many protests outside of places that venues will then be pressured to also not allow that to happen. But it's damn near impossible to get everybody to say, hey, nope. We're out on this. You can make us money, but we're out on the idea of you're making us money. I don't see how you end up doing that in 2023.
To get to the point where, like, the Cosby one is very interesting, right? Because obviously he's guilty of some pretty heinous stuff.
You can make the argument the biggest serial rapist in the history of our country.
Yeah, not counting Christopher Columbus and those guys. But yeah, welcome to Black History Month, by the way, guys. Hey.
Tom Brady stole your thunder already this morning. Sorry.
Everyone's thunder.
Grumble.
That guy.
I can't lie. I'm going to say this, and a lot of people are going to be upset when I say this. Cosby is an awful person. Terrible. But you can't tell me you're not a little curious what he would say in stand-up based on what's happened in his life over the last. If the hallmark of a stand-up comic is I will take my life and I will create content out of it. I'll get a press pass so he doesn't get my money or whatever. But I have to find out what in his mind is going to take what's happened to him and try to make this into content. There's him justifying, I'm sure he's going to try and justify his actions, right? But then the other part of it is, again, you don't have to like him to understand the guy has a pretty wild comedic mind, right?
Oh, but he's so old, though. Like, comedy doesn't generally age into your 80s.
It doesn't. It doesn't, but, like, there's still look, Mel Brooks is coming out with The History of the World Part 2. And, Mel Brooks is 98. So do we expect that to not be funny? Or is it going to be, it's Mel Brooks, right? Like, it's Mel Brooks, man.
I think it's fair what you're saying. People are, whether they spend money or not, they can get it word of mouth. They can get it in, on social media. But I think people are going to be intrigued. What is Bill Cosby going to say? And are people going to show up?
Are you interested
see
in
his
what
act?
someone who's been accused of raping dozens of women has to say? Like,
I'm not, but he's not wrong.
He got
on
out of
this.
jail on
Right.
a technicality. He shouldn't be able to do any of this.
Absolutely. No, Jess, all of that is right and correct. But I'm not interested in what he has to say in the sense of, well, hold on, let's hear what he has. Not in that sense, but in the sense of, this dude went through some wild shit.
How are you going to pull this off?
How are you going to pull this off?
Yeah.
Right? But also make it funny. Right? There's a level of, like, almost like an obstacle course here where I just want to see how he navigates it. Because out of sheer morbid curiosity, not because I support him, not because I think he deserves an opportunity to earn a living or whatever. It's none of that. It's just like, I just want to see him do it because I know this guy has some of the most iconic stand-up comic routines ever. And I know that great comedians build off of their life, and I know his life has been insane. The guy was in prison, and he was America's dad, and now he's like a rapist. We all realize this dude has been sexually assaulting women across decades, and it's been out in the open, and he's got to reconcile that fall from this mountaintop down to the absolute sewer.
This is the opposite, though, of the thing that a lot of people are struggling with, right? Because it seems to me like we've been talking for a long time around here. Can you separate art from artist? And in this case, what you're saying is I'm attracted to the art because the artist is so despicable, because his past has so much crap in it that is both interesting and awful, that you're interested in the degree of difficulty. You're making the argument on behalf of just the art. You are separating the art from the artist.
And it's not a stance. I'm not sitting here telling people, hey, you guys should. No, I get it. I'm not advocating this for anybody. But I do have a curiosity of how is he going to pull this off?
Well, Louis C.K., I was wondering about this with Louis C.K. How is he going to navigate the labyrinth of being able to talk about this? And I don't know that he's done it necessarily well. He's won awards for his comedy album. He is clearly excellent at what he does, but the navigation of this, I was curious about it, and I don't think that he's navigated in a way where he's addressing it well or addressing it even in a way that's funny. There's funny with him, but it's not about his circumstance.
He's avoided his thing.
It's like even the creators of The Simpsons, right? Brilliant. Everyone would tell you the creators of The Simpsons can do anything. They can't resurrect Apu. They can't figure out how to do it. They're not clever enough and smart enough to be able to figure out how to resurrect the character if Hank Azaria's unwilling to do it because he says, oh, in retrospect, this is offensive that I would be doing this in, as a white man.
But the difference there is The Simpsons is this huge machine that makes money within the boundaries of mainstream. Apu is not a central figure to that. Right?
But they haven't been, wait a minute. You know that clever, arrogant people who have had a great deal of success, you know good and well that they want the challenge of how do we figure out how to do this, and they haven't been able to figure it out.
I would imagine that when Hank Azaria says, I'm not going to do it, more than any other kind of external pressure, that probably is a red light of, all right, let's just leave it alone for now.
Switching topics, I did not realize that what I needed in my life in the third episode of a zombie show is a gay love story involving Nick Offerman. But I needed it.
Ass off. Acted his ass off. That's the best acting he's ever done.
They spent an hour in a zombie show they're still setting up for us. They spent an hour on a love story involving Nick Offerman that barely had any zombie in it.
Well, there's one.
That's why it was the best episode of the season so far. Get those fucking zombies away from me. Wow. Disgusting.
Jesus.
They're nasty.
Well, let's talk about the zombie phenomenon. I'd like to talk about this because I thought The Walking Dead, once they did 11 seasons, 6 more than anyone needed, because we were in the same story again and again. Oh, they got to go out for supplies. How are they gonna get supplies for the 11th straight season? These zombies are good zombies, but what is the fascination? I've never understood the fascination with zombies. This is a well-done show.
They're bad zombies, just to be clear.
They're very bad zombies.
Bad zombies.
All zombies are
good
bad.
zombie.
Yeah, they're not good zombies.
Yeah.
They don't have hearts of gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. You're watching. What's your fascination?
That it's the second most popular thing HBO has ever done to start, and I trust HBO to make good television.
Wait, do you like
They've
it?
had flops.
Yeah, I've liked the 3.
All this.
So that's why you're watching, because you're enjoying it.
I've liked the 3. I mean, there's only been 3 so far.
But you're skeptical because you're like, I'm Dan Le Batard. I'm a writer. I can't like a zombie show.
Mm-hmm.
That is untrue. I like World War Z.
Sounds like you like lots of zombie shows, Dan. You sound like a zombie guy does.
Zombieland, and that's about it. Like I didn't.
Well, that's like 6 zombie vehicles already. Yeah, you like zombies,
it
Dan.
Is not all of them.
You like zombies. It's okay.
Night of the Living Dead.
This is a safe place. You can like zombies.
What's I Am Legend, zombies or vampires?
Vampire zombies.
Vampires
Zombies.
kind of are
Shit.
zombies in a way because they can't die, right?
Yeah,
They're
I'm most interested
undead.
in this type of zombie.
Hence Rick Pitino. Yeah.
I think
Vampires can die.
Well, zombies can die too,
Yeah,
Yeah,
right
they
through the head.
both can die.
but they're undead, like reanimated corpses, essentially.
Yeah, but this one's
Something
rooted
has
in
infected
scientific
them,
truth.
right? But correct.
Yeah.
Vampires, well, TBD. We don't know yet.
No.
They might exist.
Put it on the
somewhere.
poll, please, Juju, at
Washington,
LeBatard
probably.
Show. Are vampires zombies?
They get infected with something that turns them into something else. I think it's very similar to what happens to a zombie.
I never considered this. You know what? Maybe.
The difference is vampires are sentient, while
and sexy.
so are zombies.
No.
Although
these zombies are
talking about?
disgusting.
Oh my
No,
God.
although
Wall,
in
but
Vegas
they
there
poke
is
it
a
out like
zombie
that.
burlesque show, and I'm like, who's this for?
Wait a minute. Did we just discover that Amin's a necrophiliac? What do you mean zombies? What do you mean
Let's
zombies
not kink shame here.
are...
What about the ones that click?
Clickers, man. Hey, what a great show, man. You know what? I was talking to Mike Fuentes and Tony earlier because it's based on a video game, and so far through 3 episodes, it's fairly close to the video game, which I played, but Tony hasn't. And there's a part of me is like, man, I wish I hadn't played the game so I could experience it like you guys are. The wonder of this story, because it's a great story. It's not Walking Dead.
Oh,
where-
but I haven't played the game. I'm still interested in the way they're doing the photography and the film work, where I feel like I'm inside a video game while I'm watching it. Like it,
Well,
I'm
the way
wondering
they're-
how they're
yeah.
how they're doing that, where they're making it so intimate that there are certain camera angles. It's just it's artfully done. It's not. I don't know what I associate with zombie
So
stereotypes.
just to be clear,
it's
you
not
did
that.
not you did not play The Last of Us on
PlayStation.
PlayStation, right? Can you show up on our Twitch stream? Can we do GG with Miss Pac-Man and Dan?
Oh,
Let's do that.
It's a really good show, though, and I think what is interesting is that the same guy that made the video game is one of the, co-showrunners with an HBO guy who did the show Chernobyl, which was also about an apocalyptic event, which happened in real life, obviously. But it's
Also
interesting because they've changed some things, like you said, Amin. But people who are fans of the video game, you can't get so hung up on the changes because it's the same guy kind of reimagining things now that he's written subsequent video games with more backstory and things like that. So it's really interesting and it's well done. I think the characters are very interesting characters and they're very well acted out.
And if you watch the back end where they explain the episode, the showrunner who was part of the video game said, if we want to stick with the video game stuff, we will. But if we derail from it, we want to have a good purpose for it. And last night's episode, or a couple nights ago's episode, was part of that kind of idea where, hey, this wasn't part of the video game, but this is such a good piece of content that we're going to go this way and then go back to the story.
But that is so bold.
Yeah.
So bold to make the 3rd episode. You have to understand, they don't know that they're going to open as the 2nd most popular thing in HBO history. To have the 3rd episode locked up in zombie where you just stop and are like, Nick Offerman, we're going to ask you for an hour to do, I don't even know the actor's name from Chippendales and White Lotus. Yeah,
Murray
Armand from White Lotus, where we're going to spend an hour. We're not going to just deviate from the video game. In our 3rd episode, we're going to spend an hour on a gay love story. That's pretty damn bold.
To be fair, Dan, they didn't know it would be the
We
second.
could just call it a love story.
Yeah.
No, because the gay
Love
part
stories are love stories.
is the part
man.
that makes it.
Yeah, love is love. Yeah, exactly.
But the gay part is the part
Love
that
is
makes
love.
it so like, oh wow, that's a bold choice in terms of risking that early in the show. By the way, I'm not gonna give it away, but for a storyline that doesn't go much further beyond that episode.
There's going to be flashbacks.
Sure, but I guess my thing is this, Dan, they didn't know it would be the second greatest premiere ever, but they knew this was one of the most talked about kind of projects on the Hollywood scene for the last couple of years.
It's still bold. 3rd episode. You're going
Sure.
far. It's not zombies. You're not doing zombies anymore. It's not a show about zombies.
But the video, I would argue the video game isn't a video game about zombies either, even though zombies are everywhere and you got to kill them and stuff. But the story of the video game is so incredible and so rich and really drives home the idea. I mean, it's not really a spoiler alert. We all know what the deal is. This little girl has the cure and they've got to get her somewhere. And just the idea of, in the face of this worldwide disaster, what still constitutes humanity, right? What where people are saying, well, if she's bitten, then I got to kill her. And don't want to even ask the question of, wait a second, how is she still here or whatever. So the themes that the show and the video game explore really have little to do with zombies. It's, I guess the only way I would describe compare it to Walking Dead is Walking Dead before they just thought every time we're just going to find salvation, but it won't be as things as it seems or whatever.
I think another good part too is when we talk about this love episode, it's love and love lost, right? Because all of a sudden you see Bill and Frank at the end, they go up to the room, you know what's going to happen with them.
Man.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
And then
You love to spoil shit, Tony.
yeah.
okay, guys, we're talking about a show.
We've
My
been
bad.
so careful.
Tony, go sit outside.
Oh,
Go
okay.
sit
So
outside.
Oh my God! You called for the ball.
I feel,
fault.
I feel like
Literally have a ball in your hand.
2 minutes for staying on topic.
I can't make a
mean,
decent point anymore. Okay.
no.
Just don't
To be
spoil
fair,
things.
when have you?
He's literally taking his ball and leaving.
I feel like if there's zombies in a show, like it's a zombie show. You know what I mean? Like it's like saying Madagascar, not really an animal movie. It's like, yeah, no, it 100% is an animal
really,
movie.
though.
No, Madagascar is 100% an animal
it's
movie.
not.
The Minions is a Minions movie, and if there's zombies in it, it's a zombie movie.
The Minions is a capitalism movie. All right, let's make that clear.
Put it on the poll, Juju, please, or the Minions capitalist movie. And also put on the poll at Le Batard Show, if you have zombies in your movie, is it automatically a zombie movie? I don't think once you have a zombie in your movie, I think that's the genre you're in. You're a zombie movie.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Right.
I think the best shows are genre bending. So if you have a zombie movie that's about love or a love story, that makes it really interesting and compelling. And like we've seen over the last decade of TV, shows that have those things that are bending to different diametrically opposed genres are becoming the best things that we watch.
I think I figured it out because it's not necessarily true to have a zombie making an official zombie movie. What about Monster Squad? They had all the monsters in there. What is it then? It's a monster movie, right?
Yeah.
I think
point.
I think you can have it. I don't think it's genre bending to have it be symbolic of a variety of different things. For example, this zombie movie, it starts first 10 minutes will catch you because you are realizing that they are playing with what we're presently going through in these pandemic times to set up the storyline. So it can be about larger, broader themed things. But if I put
Amongst zombies.
if I put a single zombie in the movie, I could put a zombie in Top Gun, and it is no longer a fighter pilot movie.
It is
a zombie movie.
It's a zombie fighter pilot. Like, okay,
Yeah.
there's this movie on Netflix that I didn't realize was gonna be like a zombie movie, and it's this zombie heist movie with Dave Bautista, one of the actors of our
What's
generation.
it called? Zombie Heist?
I don't know what it's. No, it's not because it was kind of
That's
like
genre bending.
it was a misleading title where I thought I'm just watching a heist movie.
Is that a Zack
right?
Snyder movie?
I don't know who makes it. I just watch what I think is going to be good. So then I go in, and 2 seconds in, it's like boom, zombie, and I'm
Wait,
like,
is
okay,
this Army of the Dead?
it might
You
be.
didn't realize that was a zombie movie?
No, I thought it was a heist movie. If I see
This
army
is a
in
zombie
it,
heist film on Netflix.
Wait,
I just
wait,
Googled it.
hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. Say that point. Whatever your name
Billy
is.
is his
Billy
name.
is his
All right,
name.
I mean,
Whoa,
go sit
whoa,
outside.
geez.
You know,
Right.
don't-
Sorry,
I heard
Chris.
that one.
Not
Sorry.
knowing a name is
Forgot
$10.
Billy, not
I mean,
knowing a
Army,
ma-
it's Army of the Dead. I don't
You
know
owe
how you could.
$15.
Thank
You
you.
owe
15,
no.
thank you.
He owes from before as well.
That's the biggest of fines
the
right
picture
there.
didn't show zombies in it. I just saw Dave Bautista, and I go, okay, I'm in.
Can you
Chris
imagine?
D'Elia's in it. Speaking of canceled
Wow.
comics.
Can you imagine, by the way, if Rudy Gobert had cordyceps?
Billy, Dave Bautista's in a movie.
Hey.
You're automatically there.
Yeah, are you not? I mean, why would you not be?
I think I'm in on A Knock at the Cabin. The reviews are good, and everyone is saying yet again, M. Night Shyamalan is back.
No, Mike, I said to you yesterday, he has the greatest catalog of movie previews in movie-making history.
They're saying he's
mean,
back. They're saying he's back, even though this movie is being released in February. It has
Don't
all
fall
the reasons.
for it, Mike. I care about you.
I'm
mean,
falling for it. I want to see it.
Have you watched The Servant at all on Apple TV? The M. Night Shyamalan. He's basically he's working with his family on stuff, and they're doing a fourth season of that show. I think it's one of the best things that Apple is doing. They've got a lot of stuff that's a note off. I do feel like Apple, I don't know whether this is being noticed because Apple is so discerning with the choices that they're making, but they are also being very careful not to offend anybody. Super, super careful not to do anything that affects the iPhone money. Anything that affects
would you?
Well, yes.
You would?
Yes, obviously I would.
I mean, the iPhone money.
How about all the times he's jeopardized our money?
Fair point, Mike.
He's about to do it again.
I have nothing to say. I'm out of this.